Hello. Today's video reviews our DLPs, Daily Language Program, sentences 21 through 24. Now remember our format. If you're at home, you're supposed to be looking at the file on Google Classroom of the DLPs that you think we had for that day. Then you write those on your own, try to correct any error that you see. Then after you do that, then check the videos and see how well you corrected your sentences and make any corrections that you need. And then at the end of the 9 weeks, that whole portfolio of corrected sentences will be submitted to me, and that will be one of your grades, okay? So let's take a look at number 21. The Bible should be capitalized there, which is divided into the Old Testament and the New Testament. So there we have an adjective clause that needs commas around both parts. So you need to add a comma after Testament. The Jewish religion accepts only the Old Testament as sacred, while the Christian religion accepts both the Old Testament and the New Testament as sacred. Wrong word. You need A-C-C-E-P-T-S rather than E-X-C-E-P-T-S. In number 3, we have another adjective type modifier thrown in the middle of the sentence. In this case, rather than an adjective clause as we had in number 1, it's a participial phrase, which also functions as an adjective. So again, commas around it. Comma after Old Testament, comma after BC. Now you notice BC is done a couple of different ways there. Pick one way and keep it consistent. The New Testament begins shortly before the birth of Christ and covers about 100 years, comma, ending many believe about 100 AD with the Apostle John's book of Revelation, close parentheses, period. Couple of ways to do it. I would not have parentheses in the sentence. I would simply leave the comma after 100 years. There. It's fine. But our editors wanted us to practice with parentheses. So they're wanting us to leave out the comma after 100 years and start the parentheses before the word ending. Now, look at AD. 8 out of 10 people don't know how to do this. And 8 out of 10 times you'll see it written like this. But it's wrong. AD is Anno Domini. It means in the year of our Lord. You say that phrase first, then you say the year. So AD really is supposed to go before the year, not after it. No less than a dozen English translations. Okay, we can stop right there. Remember that less goes with a singular word. Fewer goes with a plural word. So, for example, less money but fewer dollar bills. Less technology but fewer computers. So no fewer than a dozen English translations of the Bible preceded the King James Authorized Version, comma, we don't need to be redundant, first published in 1611. You could even be less wordy and say preceded the 1611 King James Authorized Version and stop the sentence there. How great indeed. Oh my, if we're going to be that excited, we need an exclamation mark at the end right here, don't we? How great indeed was the impact on English prose and poetry of this widely read, no hyphen with an ly word, yet at first reluctantly received masterpiece, and oh, here we have the most commonly misspelled word in English. Received as EI. Learn how to spell that one. The Talmud, the accumulated, ACC, accumulated and authoritative body of Jewish oral traditions, includes sections dealing with law, folklore, and domestic life. Its main divisions, again, that's the wrong homophone, ITS. Its main division is the Mishnah. Now look at the modifying phrases here. You've got a noun, a text, start out the suppositive phrase. And then you have a prepositional phrase following. So we're going to try to do the same thing down here at the end. Its main division is the Mishnah, a text of the oral law, and the Gemara, an interpretation of the Mishnah. So that would make it parallel. Number 23. In 1534, King, capitalized King, Henry VIII had Parliament pass a law saying that he, not the Pope, was head of the English Church. So we need to change him to the nominative case he. Henry's action led to the formation of a church, which had more in common with Puritan Protestantism. Puritan needs to be capitalized, but look at that comma, which. That technically means I can drop out that clause, and I still say everything I want to say. Henry's action led to the formation of a church. Well, that didn't tell me much. I want to include that last part, so I need no comma and the word that instead. During the long reign of Queen Elizabeth I, we have a big introduction right there, don't we? 2 prepositional phrases in a row. So you need a comma after that long intro. During the long reign of Queen Elizabeth I, comma, the English church holding That's the bad verb form that makes it a fragment. We need the word held. Held a middle course among Roman Catholicism and Puritanism. Well, it's one or the other one, so between is the word we need there. Elizabeth's cousin, James VI, and again, this is an ACT difference. ACT tends to like those commas around appositives, even somebody's name. Most grammar books say with somebody's name you don't need commas as in a positive, but that's just a little bit of a difference there. Took the throne in 1603. Here's our major error. Either put a period, start a new sentence, use a semicolon, or maybe subordinate one part. When Elizabeth's cousin, James VI, took the throne in 1603, comma, he made no secret of his dislike for Puritans. Otherwise, split it up into two sentences. And the final one for this set, religious tension grew worser. It's bad, and then worse, and then worst. Right? Bad is the positive, worse is the comparative, worst is the superlative. So you need W-O-R-S-E. Religious tension grew worse under James' son, Charles I. Now, James with a Z sound at the end, you can only put an apostrophe if you want to, or apostrophe S. The MLA gives us that option now. And again, the comma after son, ACT would want that comma. Most grammar books would not require you to put that comma. You do need one after, though, before that adjective clause. In 1602, when Charles tried to seize, S-E-I-Z-E, Puritans in Parliament, P-A-R-L-I-A-M-E-N-T, no E right here in the middle, who had called him a tyrant, the English Civil War began. Under Oliver Cromwell, the Puritans defeated Charles's armies. Again, you could, since Charles is with a Z sound, you can just put the apostrophe if you want to, but you can also put apostrophe S like this. Trying the king. Well, trying doesn't match defeated. So defeated armies tried the king and eventually had him beheaded, or eventually beheaded him. For 10 years, write out 10, Cromwell in Parliament ruled without no monarch, ruled without a monarch, or ruled without any monarch, but the English soon tired of the strict Puritan rule. So that's our sentences from 21 to 24.